You always think you have enough time. And then when a loved one and their health takes a turn for the worse, you really want to be focusing more on their health, loving them and spending time with them and keeping them comfortable versus having to prepare for all of the other, things that are going to come when they pass away. Hey guys, this is Zach here with Paramount Financial Planning. And unfortunately, my dad's health has recently taken a turn for the worse. And despite years of telling them, prepare your will and healthcare power of attorney and all of these other things that I've been trying to help make sure that they're prepared for, they haven't listened. I don't know if it's because I'm a kid and I know my kids don't always listen to me and they listen to other adults. And so maybe that's why they haven't always listened. But now us brothers and sisters are getting together and we're feeling rushed and our parents are feeling rushed to try to put everything together. But it's because they weren't prepared. So in time of crisis, instead of being in a crisis, and having to focus on things that you don't want to focus on, what you can do is just take a couple easy steps to make sure that you are prepared, whether you're younger, whether you're older, health, non-health, whatever that looks like. So we came up with an acronym, PREPARED. And prepared is just going to be an easy way for you to remember, or relatively easy way for you to remember how to and what to do with your estate planning. The first P is going to be plan with a will or trust. So will and trust, those can kind of get a little confusing. Sometimes people aren't really sure what they mean. And I'm not going to go too in depth into that, but a will essentially makes sure that one, the assets that aren't titled. So think about that painting. We have a painting that Grandpa made that he put together that's really beautiful. And I think a couple of us wanted, who does that go to specifically? Because it can't be titled. So making sure that we avoid probate, that assets and, things go to the people that we want them to be. And that also guardianship. So if you're younger, I have 4 kids, I've got a 5th kid on the way. I want to make sure that God forbid something happened to me and my wife, that I know exactly who my kids go to, who's going to be taking care of them, what's going to happen with the finances and, the life insurance money that's out there. A will is going to take care of all of that. A trust is really just a deeper step on that, where it's going to create some type of trustee who's going to gather all of the assets together, put them inside that trust, and make sure that they get distributed evenly and accordingly. And you can do a lot more with different provisions inside of a trust, that if you have a complex family situation or complex assets, businesses, those types of things, that you can make sure that they're handled properly. So that first P is going to be prepare with a will or a trust. Now, whether you need one of those or both of those or what that looks like, we can help you kind of sit down and talk about that, but we'd most likely loop in one of our colleagues who are attorneys to help us decide that. The R is going to be for review beneficiaries. So what's great is there with life insurances and like retirement accounts, you can have beneficiaries on it. So whoever is the beneficiary, it automatically avoids probate and goes directly into that person's name when you pass away. But what's crazy is people don't really review them. So we like to do what are called beneficiary audits, where we're looking over beneficiaries to make sure that they're all correct. The last thing you want to happen is if you're remarried, that your ex-wife is because this actually happened, the ex-wife is the beneficiary on that retirement account and your new wife wasn't, you pass away, and then there's going to be some fighting and some issues there. So you want to make sure to review those beneficiaries regularly. The E is for established powers of attorney. And this is going to be typically a durable power of attorney. Some people call it a financial power of attorney. It's to make sure when you're incapacitated or towards the end of life, that someone is there that can actually handle the finances, whether they need to call Social Security for you or they need to call the bank to handle deposits and transfers and those types of things. The durable financial power of attorney is going to put someone specific in place to be able to handle that for you. The next P is prepare healthcare directives. So this is going to be a living will and a healthcare power of attorney. Now, you're probably thinking living will, what's the difference between that and a will? A living will is really, what do you want to happen medically at the end of your life? You can put on there whether you have a do not resuscitate. You can put in there, the different types of healthcare that you want towards the end of your life to make sure that those wishes are actually taken care of. And a lot of times that's going to couple with a healthcare power of attorney. Healthcare power of attorney is once you're incapacitated, who's able to make those healthcare choices for you. The court ultimately would appoint someone if you didn't have it in place, but you want to make sure that you have that in place so that there's no guesswork in it. The A is going to be for align asset titling. Another great thing about assets is you can title them correctly. So a car or a house and bank accounts, so those types of things can be titled where it's either joint, where you both have access to it, say a mom and a son who's going to take over. But that gives the son full right to it as well. You might not want that currently. So you can do what's called TOD or POD, which is transfer or payable on death, which means when someone passes away, it automatically goes directly to the next person. Avoids probate, but they don't get access to it until after you were to pass away. The R is going to be record legacy values. So think of this as like an ethical will. Things about your life. There's a lot of really great companies out there now that will actually send someone a bunch of questions where they answer these different questions about their life, whether it's their childhood, growing up, their time in the military, their time being a dad and what it meant to be a dad and the experiences they had. And it records it, creates it into a book, and actually binds it and sends it so the next generation can have it. I've got kids that are young enough who likely won't be able to remember my dad or my mom, if they were to pass away. And so these types of things record their legacy values, the ethical things that they stood for, that were important to them, so that they can pass those on to the next generation. The E is going to be ensure document access. So we all know that there have been these times where we don't know where we put something, or we put it somewhere specifically so we wouldn't forget where we put it, and then we forgot where we put it. We've all had that happen before. So you want to make sure that you have all of your really important documents, titles to vehicles, to the house, living will, healthcare power of attorney, those different documents. You want to have them somewhere important, like a safe at home. But also there's lots of ways to have electronic access. So we give all of our clients access to what's called a vault, where they can actually upload their important documents that they want to have on file. And then God forbid something were to happen, we have those documents accessible so we can give those to the next generation, whoever the beneficiaries are, to make sure that they have those. We get them regularly updated by our clients to make sure that they have them. So keep them somewhere that you are going to remember and that everyone knows about, and ensure that everyone knows where those documents are kept. The last one is going to be develop some type of system for updating it. You don't want 20 to 25 years to go by without updating all of these documents. You want to have it regularly updated every couple years, or when there's some type of significant life event, whether you're adding a kid or one of your beneficiaries was unfortunately predeceased you. Those types of things can cause you to update it. So you just want to make sure to regularly update it. Guys, thanks for hanging with me today. This is not a fun conversation, not an easy conversation, but you want to be prepared, and you want to have this all taken care of ahead of time so that you can really be there to comfort, whoever it is that, they're having some health issues. You want to be there to comfort them and not to have to focus on these other things. You want time to grieve instead of focusing on these things. So these quick, easy steps: prepared. So plan with a will and a trust, review beneficiaries, establish powers of attorney, prepare healthcare directives, align asset titling, record legacy values, ensure document access, and then develop some type of a system for updating it. Again, appreciate you hanging with me. If you guys have questions, we're happy to sit down. We love facilitating this conversation between generations. It can be a little challenging and emotional. Parents don't always want to kind of have that conversation, but we want to have it earlier. And same thing with you and your kids. You want to have that conversation with them beforehand. So we're happy to help you facilitate that conversation. We've got attorneys that we're really close with that can help, make sense of this and help you put some of these documents together. As always, let's find out what we can build together. Thanks, guys.